Okay, hi everyone, welcome back. And in this update, we are going to check out AVAX's price chart and see what is going on in like very short time. And the spoiler alert, I think we are having some very interesting signs in here indicating, yeah, you know what, hopefully we have hit the lows. So are we ready? Let's dive in and see what is going on. And if you remember the last time that we talked about Avalanche, we were right around this area, and I specifically said in the previous update I got a top tip hidden for you somewhere in the middle of the previous video. And if you completely watched previous update, you realize that I said, look, probably in Bitcoin we are going to get some decent moves on the downside, and in that period odds are that a lot of alts are going to go down with BTC as well. And that was actually one very important reason for why in Avalanche we talked about the possibility of having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulsive structure down. And as you can see, we got our move on the downside, followed by, I'm gonna say, a rather decent bounce back. Now, in case you are wondering, okay, why did we want to see a good move down in AVAX? Let's go on H1 time frame. This is our own chart from Binance, and the idea in Avalanche is that we are essentially having from the highs about, there we go, let's hide everything, about here around, let's say $64, a correction structure in form of a WXY, a flat and a zigzag. And we said, look, this can be an ABC in form of an expanded flat into wave W, followed by a correction for wave X, and this can be another ABC zigzag into our wave Y, which, in case you don't know really Elliot's waves, in an ABC zigzag for the sub waves, we're gonna have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 into a correction for wave B. Let's consider a WXY. We can have so many different patterns. It's not honestly that important. And then another 5 wave down into C. Now, let's go on the live chart. Okay, so we said this is probably a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave down into RA leg, followed by a WXY, maybe a flat and a zigzag, possibly even a double zigzag. Actually, better to consider this thing as a double zigzag structure. And then we said, okay, we want to see a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but please have this in your mind that this shadow didn't really actually happen in a lot of other charts. And one chart that we liked very much was Coinbase's chart, which, as you can see in it, the recent lowest low in that massive liquidation event was only around here about $17. So we said it's actually quite likely for us to go down in AVAX and take the lows in form of a 5 wave. So that was the conclusion of the previous update. Now, question, can we argue the bottom is in? The answer, hopefully yes. You see, in terms of Elliot's waves, if you want to say that we have hit the lows around this region, I don't know, maybe this is like a very important support. Okay, fair enough. Find me then off of the lowest low in here, a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in order for me to be able to flip bullish a little bit. This specific count is called an impulse. Rules for it are, we should not have overlapping of the waves between wave 2 and 4, and in any kind of 5 wave or wave 3 should not be the smallest wave. And when it comes to the sub waves, you know it. We're gonna have 5 wave up into wave 1, 3, and 5. And for wave 2 and 4, we can have different possibilities. Doesn't really matter. Let's say, yeah, okay, a WXY into wave 2 and possibly an ABC zigzag into wave 4. Now, let's go on our own chart from Binance, and basically, I think we might be done with this chart. Okay, so maybe it's best to go on 15-minute time frame in order for us to see the candles a bit better. And AVAX, in my view, does actually have one of those charts that is a bit more clear than the others. Why? Simple reason. I think this is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave up, followed by an ABC in form of a zigzag structure. Also, in my view, this can be a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave impulse as well. This can be a correction down, this time not an ABC, probably a WXY in form of a double zigzag. So what is going on here? Well, it actually depends on whether you want to consider this very small overlapping of the waves between this phase down and this phase on the downside working here. If you don't want to consider this, then okay, fair enough. You are allowed to consider having here a 1, 2, 3, 4, and what's next? You know the answer, a rather good strong move on the upside into our wave 5, and this can be an impulsive movement indicating, yeah, you know what, hopefully in Avalanche the bottom is in. On the other hand, if you want to consider this scenario, well, okay, that is actually narrowing your option. Is it to only one choice or two choices? It actually comes down to the length of our corrective movements down. And first things first, let's just put the chart on regular and then measure them one by one. Okay, is this thing bigger than this move? As you can see, the answer is no. So in other words, let's just delete this one, excuse me. This specific fix down by a decent margin is bigger than this one. So yeah, again, your options are narrowed to two very important choices. Number one, either you are having in here a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but not an impulse in form of actually an expanding leading diagonal, and that one suggests that our wave 5 in Avalanche has to be, this is really the key word, has to be bigger than our wave 3, and in that case, well, okay, let's just zoom in more and measure the length of our wave 3 from here to about the highs. And is our chart, yes, it's absolutely on regular, and put this thing at our supposedly beginning point of wave 5. So if this is truly an expanding leading diagonal, then okay, the price has to go, this is important, has to go above at least this level around, let's say, $19.7. On the other hand, in another option, well, that's actually going to be a bit more bullish than this possibility, suggesting we are having a bit of a 1-2 setup, suggesting, you see, this is 1, this is 2. What's next? Great move up into wave 3, 4, 5, and the targets, trust me, are going to be much higher than $20. And this white 5 wave is going to be into a larger degree wave 3, followed by a correction for another move up into wave 5. Question: which scenario is going to happen? I'll be honest with you, I'm not really sure. But here is what I have to tell you. You see, in Avalanche right now, I think makes sense to be a bit optimistic as long as we are not proven otherwise. And when is it going to be that maybe we are going to be sort of kind of proven otherwise? When we go down in a strong manner, like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in order to take this important slow down here about $15.7. Why is this important? Because at that point, it's going to be a little bit tough to be completely optimistic for two reasons. Number one, if we take the lows in here at that point, not only the 1, 2, but also that specific expanding leading diag scenario is going to get invalidated. And reason number two, even if you want to be flexible and you want to call this thing like a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you can say from the current point we're going to get a move down. Well, okay, note what we said 30 seconds earlier. We said if we end up having a rather strong move on the downside in form of an impulse, well, if you are having a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 wave in here and the bottom is in, you shouldn't really be getting a 5 wave strong move on the downside. Instead, you should get a very slow and choppy move down, which is going to take a considerable amount of time. And also between your pullbacks up, you must be able to identify constantly overlapping of the waves. So bottom line in Avalanche, I think we basically got what we wanted in AVAX, and there isn't really a whole lot of reasons for us to go down once more and visit the lows and maybe even go like much more down than that. I don't really believe that honestly under here we really have like a whole lot of unfinished business. I think we are done, and hopefully the structures are going to agree with us as well. And what you want to see in here is a rather good bounce back in form of a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in order to get out of this area ASAP. And who knows, maybe if you are lucky, possibly confirm that we are having in this region a head and shoulder structure. And let's just draw the next line for it. There we go. Now you might say, well, okay, in this area we broke our head and shoulder. The answer, nope, not really. Let's just hide everything. Okay, yes, I actually drew the line correctly. Okay, you see, if you want to say that this head and shoulder is confirmed, you need to be a bit patient and see a move above the line followed by a consolidation in here and then another move up in order to take this important high. And this is definitely not a clean cut break. So again, if you want to be more bullish with more confidence, all you have to see is from the current point. Actually, I'm going to say, you know what, maybe a bit lower, because this might end up being just an ABC flat structure, yet another good move up in order to clear the highs. And at that point, our head and shoulder is also going to get confirmed. So, you know, hopefully we are going to go quite a bit higher than that. And I hope I explained everything well and you understood what is going on in Avalanche's chart. And until the next update, I hope you have a wonderful time. Goodbye.